I'm with Judy French, coordinator of PACER's National Bullying Prevention Center in Los Angeles. Thanks for being here today, Judy.
You're welcome.
So tell me a little bit about PACER and the Bullying Prevention Center.
So PACER itself, the larger nonprofit, was formed over 40 years ago in Minneapolis to help families that had children with disabilities. And so we wanted families to be able to advocate for their children, and then we wanted families to teach their children self-advocacy. So we've been humming along doing all that work. And while we were doing that work, of course, we were also hearing stories of bullying and working on bullying prevention. So formally, we created the National Bullying Prevention Center in 2006, but we've been doing bullying prevention work all along, helping people understand how they can create communities where children won't have to suffer through bullying. And that's our mission, to create a world without bullying, healthier communities where kindness, acceptance, and inclusion help protect children.
I noticed with the Bullying Prevention Center that you're careful about certain language. For example, you'll say bullying prevention instead of anti-bullying.
Yes.
Why is that? What's the difference there?
When someone uses the term anti-bullying, I know people do it with good hearts and best of intentions, but all it really says is I'm against bullying. And I think pretty much everyone is. There's no pro-bullying platform anywhere. So we really want people to be thinking about where should I focus my energy? And prevention, prevention's the place to be. So that's why we use that language. We really want you to be thinking, what could I be doing? What should I be doing? So it doesn't happen at all.
So I imagine bullying can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
It does.
What does it mean to your organization? How do you define bullying?
So what we did is we looked at all the best definitions, research, evidence-based definitions, and we took 3 hallmarks, that's what we call them, the most common characteristics. And so here they are. It's hurt or harm that is done on purpose. So intentionally done, purposefully done, hurt or harm. The target really cannot stop the bullying that they're experiencing, and they can't stop it because, and here's the third one, the person doing the bullying or the people doing the bullying have more power. So those are 3 features of most of the definitions. There's one that's missing there, and it's one that you'll find in every legal definition. What I just gave you is not a legal definition.
Okay.
Just a way to remember it more succinctly. So the 4th characteristic that will be in every legal definition is repetition. So schools, for example, in their policy and in their handbooks, they'll want to see what they call a repeated pattern of events, that this bullying activity is repeated, a pattern. And that's problematic, and it's a place where we're still grappling. All the people that work in bullying prevention are very much grappling with this idea that it has to be repeated because sometimes one event is enough to change a child's life. And for children with disabilities, and most children actually, things can be happening, they don't even realize it's bullying at first. But it's been going on for a while, so they may not tell an adult until it's actually been happening for a while. But if the first report is the one that they're, saying we've only heard about it once, that may ignore a history of events. So we're still grappling with that repetition idea. Yeah. And also in the disability community, we also are grappling with intention. Intention isn't easily read by children. It isn't read by most of us. It's very difficult, and children with disabilities might not be able to read intention at all. They might be just excited to have the attention or the energy coming from a group of people or one person. So that's also problematic for us. We want people to be thinking of impact. So if you did not intend that this action would hurt me, but it did, and you understand that and you continue to do it, that's a problem, because the impact on me was terrible.
I'm curious how widespread the bullying is, and what kind of research is being done to analyze that.
Well, that's a really interesting question. So right now, the statistic we have was published in 2016. So we'll be updating those soon, but the 2016 statistic says that about 20.8% of children will report that they were bullied at some time during the school year. So it's gone down over the last 10, 15 years. We'll be getting updated data soon. So it's still 1 in 5. But we also know that about not quite 60% of kids will not report the bullying that they're experiencing to any adult. So we also have to bridge this gap that might be happening between what gets reported and what doesn't. So it's still a significant amount of children, and for children with disabilities, much higher. LGBTQ kids, even higher. We only have about a generation's worth of research. So this is why we don't have the longitudinal research that might tell us, this is what happens then in the next phase, or this really, really works. We're just getting towards that now. And we have some better ideas for sure.
Yeah, well, it seems like the research would have started because there was recognition that something was happening here.
Well, that's the old idea, was that bullying is just a part of childhood. So if you still retain that idea even, or if you had it before, why would you think that we could alter it in any way? If bullying was just a natural part of childhood and it's something that most kids experience, okay, that just happens. And I've heard people say things like, kids are just mean. Middle school is just hard. And it tells me a lot about the norms and the expectations of a particular community. They expect it to happen. So, there you go.
And not even that, but I feel like they may be underestimating some of the effects of that. It's sort of like these Hollywood stories of the underdog who fights the bully, and it's this story of self-empowerment and character building.
Right. So the old idea, too, about bullying was that it somehow built kids up. And I've had people say to me, bullying made me the man I am today. And, you kind of want to tease out what that story is, but you can tell it's still very alive for the person who experienced it. We know now that bullying does not build kids up. It does not create resilience. It breaks kids down. Conflict, on the other hand, and the tools that we need to get through conflict, that builds resilience. Conflict resolutions, wonderful strategies for repairing and restoring a relationship that might be broken due to a disagreement or an argument, but none of those things are bullying. If children have a sense of what a healthy relationship looks like, and social behavior is learned, so they need to be seeing good, healthy relationships, then they are liable to have that little niggling feeling that says, this isn't right. I better talk to somebody about, I don't understand why that person treated me that way. Then when something like bullying or bullying behavior comes up and the child isn't sure, then they have a strategy. I got to go talk to my dad.
Right.
I got to go talk to an adult who cares about me and find out what this is that happened.
And is that the advice that you would give to
Absolutely.
A child who feels like they're being bullied? Talk to a grown-up that you trust?
Yes, that is the go-to piece of advice. It's not an easy one for most kids to take, but in order to get bullying resolved and stopped, most often an adult has to be involved. I ask parents and kids to make sure that they know who are the adults a child can go to in the various spaces that they operate in. So school, maybe a sports team, maybe a theater group, wherever it is that child is going, maybe a church or community group. Who's the adult that you feel comfortable speaking to? Like a map of support around a child. Very important to know for when things are not going right.
What advice do you give to adults to be able to identify that something may be happening with their kids that they would want to address?
So bullying sometimes presents like depression in that they won't have the same desire to do things they used to like to do. Maybe they didn't have any problems riding on the bus to school, and all of a sudden don't want to go on the bus. Or they don't want to go to school, and yet they've been a really great student. Or they don't want to go to practice because it's there on the team where the bullying's happening. Things like that. So avoidance of things that they used to enjoy. Sleep disorders, all of a sudden they're not sleeping, or sleepwalking, or something that's unusual that way. Digestive disorders, navigating that discomfort, of course, this is a challenge for every adult. Like, what's going on here, and what would make you feel better? So we really advocate as much as possible open communication with your kids, so that when something difficult happens and they don't know how to voice it, they know they can come to you and you will listen as well as hear them. We have some wonderful ideas and strategies for parents up on pacer.org/bullying. There's a whole section about what parents need to know. And we'll even script some good questions. in the end, kids are like us. They want to be seen and heard, and especially when they're having trouble. They want to know that the adult that they love, that is supposed to care for them, has the time to sit and receive that report.
So it sounds like a lot of your efforts are around educating people about sort of the causes and everything that we talked about today. What sort of programs and things do you do to educate people, and what groups do you go to?
So the big picture, PACER's National Bullying Prevention Center has 3 websites. We get about 1.5 million visits a year to those sites. For adults and professionals, we have pacer.org/bullying. And we say it's for adults. There's nothing inappropriate for children up there. It's just a different vocabulary level, but that's where we archive everything. So there's lesson plans, a whole year's worth. If you're a teacher and you want to sign up for a whole year's worth of curricula and videos and activities, you can do that there. We have all of that up there. Everything we have is free and downloadable, with the exception of just a few things that we sell if you want the printed versions or a resource kit. And then we have the 2 other sites are for students. So K to 5, we have PACER kidsagainstbullying.org, and that's appropriate for them. It's character-based, and there's lots of interactive things they can do. And then PACER Teens Against Bullying, which is content and developmentally appropriate for middle school and high school. So slightly more sophisticated subject matter on that site. I go out to schools and do outreach, parent presentations, faculty, staff, professional development, community organizations, disability rights groups, churches, wherever people want, again, that good information, but in a way that everybody can take it and use it.
And you have a local office here in Thousand Oaks in the Community Conscience building.
Yes.
What does it mean to your organization to be part of Community Conscience?
You know, it's provided us with a home, which is no small thing, as we know, out in the world. There's nothing else like it. For us, I have this office that I have rent-free, which means that we can focus on and direct our money to giving bullying prevention, materials and resources to the community. So Community Conscience actually connected us to the larger community. Their name is perfect for it. And not only gave us a family in that building, so to be in the midst of other nonprofits who are actively helping people, who are actively trying to build up the resilience of the most vulnerable, and who really give voice to the vulnerable it's just wonderful. It kind of reinforces all of our missions to be together, and we refer to each other whenever possible. We will show up and present. I've done that for Interface and some of the other groups in the building. We celebrate each other's achievements, and I'm so full of gratitude for Robin Britt and the board of Community Conscience. They just always, their compass is always true. They're always right on the right side of everything. So we're thrilled to be there. We're just starting our 3rd year there. I can't believe it. And just grateful.
So October is National Bullying Prevention Month.
Yay.
And tell us a little bit about that.
So National Bullying Prevention Month was started as a week, and then it was so popular we moved it to the whole month of October, and it culminates in Unity Day, which is, I believe, the 3rd Wednesday, or the 3rd or 4th Wednesday in October, and that's a day when we all come together and we wear orange to have a nice feeling of unity around kindness, acceptance, and inclusion. So a lot of activities schools will do. They'll do run, walk, rolls, which is like a walkathon, only the rolling part you could be in a wheelchair or a stroller or whatever you are in to get around. And so some people do fundraisers that month. Some people will do a whole day of like assemblies and events, including speakers, and we have a dance called the Unity Dance. But a lot of things to just raise awareness, and really a lot of schools use it as a catalyst because it's at the start of the school year, so that people are really thinking about bullying prevention throughout the year.
Yeah. If anybody wanted to help with your cause or get involved, what can they do?
So there's a lot of things to do, and the site has a lot of suggestions, pacer.org/bullying, or pacerteensagainstbullying.org, or pacerkidsagainstbullying.org. There are suggestions on every single site. PACER always needs volunteers. I will need volunteers in the LA area to do the different events that we do. And donating, of course. We do not have any government grants for this project, and we rely on, people supporting us because we want to give that information out for free. So volunteering is a great way, but also taking the information that we have up there back into your community. Promoting, and the tricky part, modeling, showing people what an act of kindness is like,
right,
what an act of inclusion is like, and showing people what acceptance of difference lives like, what it looks like in the world. You'd be doing a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
You're very welcome. Thank you for doing this whole project.
Yes.
Thank you, Community Conscience.
You're welcome. Happy to do it.
Yay.
So for anyone out there who wants to learn more about PACER's National Bullying Prevention Center, you can visit their website at pacer.org/bullying.